the state has proposed to sit down and negotiate. My opinion has been, and I made it very public, my opinion is to explore every option available. And one of my first thing we should do, sit down with the state, see what we can do as far as negotiations. Because then you can get concrete answers. You can sit across the table and say, you can take your DLR days and shove it, we don't want it. And if they come back, well, that's a deal breaker, you know, if we can adjust them, we can adjust them. But unless you were doing that across the table, you wouldn't get that answer. But the members have directed to stay in arbitration, and that's where we stay. I'd say shame on us.
That's kind of what I'm saying. So, but it don't seem like time is any problem here.
Time is a problem. I don't believe the state's in a hurry to resolve an arbitration when they want cost savings. You know, the state's using this as hard bargaining. There's no, we can dance around it all we want as far as the ability to pay. They're playing hard bargaining. We're playing hard bargaining. They got a little upper hand because they owe us 2 years. Yeah. And are they dangling that in front of our face, whether it's an arbitration or negotiation? Yeah.
How are we going to
Why don't you explain?
That would be a huge concern as far as an award, because an award, if it was violated in any way, we'd have to take it to court if they violated it. With like the law enforcement agreement, it's language, it's guaranteed. We come up with some kind of policy with the agency, and then if it was violated, it would be arbitrable, and you go in front of an arbitrator would say, you owe this person days. I mean, there's a couple options we can do with it. If for some reason, if for whatever reason we do end up negotiating this 4-year award in the panel, we would have our panel member ask that we want some language from docs, whether it's the interchanging of annual leave and DRL days, meaning you're going on vacation next week for a week, you can use 5 of your DRL days and use them up like you would use up your PL days to keep your annual leave on the books. You know, that's how we would approach it. Absolutely. There's no way. We know, and that would be presented to the panel. We would say, you want this, but we know through our research and our knowledge that docs couldn't pull this off. They couldn't pull it. We have to. We would if we talked about it. But this is the first time, until we get direction to move this forward in the panel. Our panel member has not discussed this yet. And if we give her that direction, whether it's this or at a negotiating table, you know, absolutely we have to address it. We remain in arbitration.
Hi, Stephanie Singletary. I've been trying to figure out all day, and I've asked several people, what do we want? Because this is what they're proposing, so what is this going against? Is it something else that's different or better? And what do we want? Because nobody seemed to be able to answer that question today. We're saying no. What else do we have?
What the end game is? The end game right now is we're in a 2-year arbitration at a stalemate with the state and with the neutral panel. Whether one of them's going to budge, whether the neutral panel member is going to, you know, see the light and say, guess what? You know, I don't care what the state thinks. I don't care if I ever get hired again. You know, I'm going to go along with the union. You know, I can't predict that. Nobody in this room, nobody in the state.
So what does the state offer?
This is what the state offers.
This is what
What
they
they're bringing
offer.
to us right now.
Within arbitration.
So what are we looking for then? what I should be.
There has to be a counter proposal to their proposal.
We would have to first entertain the concept of a 4-year arbitration. Because all parties would have to agree. They came out and said this would be their framework for a 4-year arbitration. And as you can see, there's severe historic concessions in there. Not only zeros, there's DRL days, actuarial table changes, there's increasing cost deferral for health insurance. All 4 of them, 3 of them, nobody's ever seen in this state. Go ahead, Mike.
So then what you're saying is, in essence, the arbitration was a waste of time. Negotiation should have been on the onslaught. Now, what you're requesting here is us, as an okay, to go with the state and start negotiations. And then at that time, soft monies and everything else will be discussed. Is that what I'm doing?
First of all,
But you still have to have.
I never said arbitration was a waste of
Well,
time.
it seems to me, because now you're negotiating.
When I became president of this organization, I'm not putting anything off on anybody else, but in the summer of '08, the bottom fell out of everything as far as the recession, financial situation of the state. We were already in interest arbitration at that time. We were able to sneak one through. It was difficult, believe me. That last 3-3, the expanded duty paid, soft money, whatever we got out of it, laser vision, whatever we got out of that wasn't an easy task. The panels had some difficult times, but we were able to get through it. We were unable to get, at the time, the governor was asking for half the CSEA to get their 4% back, to go on furlough, blah, blah, blah. We negotiated, went right into interest arbitration. There comes a point in interest arbitration when I believe you need to decide whether it's worth staying in or getting out. And now,
So in essence, then, if we had decided in negotiations, this would have been handled already.
well, I don't know if it'd be handled to the member's satisfaction, but you would have particular answers that you would vote on face value. And again, if we went into negotiation, you're talking a 6-year, 7-year deal. That's what you got to address. I don't think they would offer a 4-year agreement in negotiations. But again, until you sit down and talk with them, I don't know. And nobody knows, because that would be a crystal ball.
I agree with Brother Green. This came about within a week compared to the.
Because we made movement off our stance. If we sat, if the board didn't direct Natalie Caraway on Monday of last week to entertain, to propose the health insurance cost deferral within the arbitration award, if it could be applied within a 2-year, 3-year, 4-year, however it could be applied, that is cost savings, with the 3 and the 4 fully applied. If we didn't do that, there wouldn't have been this. Once we did that, the state said, oh, you're willing to talk about cost savings, something outside 2 years, here you go.
In actuality, you want our approval as far as negotiating.